Here in Minnesota. It's been really rainy. We had a tornado watch yesterday, so it's a little yucky. But it looks like it did rain a little bit over the night. So, um,
Pretty wet, pretty damp here right
yeah, it
now.
was pretty damp.
Absolutely.
I don't
It's
know what the weather.
also pretty green, and
That's true. That
sometimes Minnesota summers are more brown than they are green, but right now it's pretty beautiful out there, other than it's very wet.
yeah, a little humid. But you guys are gonna be, I think, here at a good time in August. So, if you guys will let us know where you're watching from, what time it is for you. Um, okay, we are officially live on YouTube. Sarah, did you want me to share the document or?
If you don't mind, that was really helpful. And
Yes,
then
absolutely. I will
I
do.
see that you have good um, intuitive skills when it comes to keeping things moving. So thank you, PJ, for that too. I appreciate that.
No worries. Thank you. Very kind of you.
So
Okay.
as PJ mentioned, we are interested to know where you all are coming in from and what time it is there. So if you want to dump that information into the chat, we'd love to hear from you.
Can you see my screen okay?
I love
Awesome.
that my colleagues in the Carney International Center are always the first to say good morning, good evening, and good night, because
Yes.
we know that y'all are accustomed to the fact that everybody's got a different time zone in a different place in the world that they're coming from.
And last time someone was joining at midnight, I was very impressed.
Absolutely.
This is my supervisor's cat. This is Kitty, everybody. She's very friendly and small and a very big sweetheart.
Oh, she's very sweet.
She's very sweet. She's very small. There you go. I'll go hang out.
And Jones from Kenya. What time is it? Okay, that's what I was just going to ask you. What time is it this morning or this afternoon in Kenya? So 5 o'clock. That's at least not a weird time to be on a webinar, potentially.
Hi, Jones. It's good to see you again. Free
Hello,
lunch.
Tanisha.
Hi, Denisha.
What time is it in Sri Lanka?
Me Kitty can smell my cat. She's really going ham. Oh,
7:36 p.m. Okay. And
pretty good
Ruth?
time.
Okay. I'm gonna guess it's around 3 in the afternoon in England. Is that right? Or are my time zones wrong still? Oh,
No.
good.
Hey, Sarah.
I was
There
going to
you
say that I
go.
can
Look
do
at
it
you.
some ways. I need to do a more extensive traveling and I need to go further west because I've only traveled to the east and remembered 6 hours for some reason. I have an
Oh,
exchange daughter in Thailand and I can't guess the time right there. So I need to work on that.
that's so cool. Is she doing like a study abroad?
We had a she stayed with us during her junior year in high school, which was now golly, almost 10 years ago, but we're still in touch with her regularly. And she taught me a lot about having a daughter because I only have boys. So
Ah,
it was very informative.
can you see my screen okay?
I can see it fine.
Okay, perfect.
And
Um,
sorry, it's early enough here still that I'm drinking coffee and trying to get my alertness on. So,
me too. Hmm. Okay.
awesome.
I'm
Tala, I
excited.
think I remember you. Were you here the other day? I'm sure PJ does.
Yeah. Of course. You were one of the first to join the WhatsApp group as well. So yeah, it's a little chaotic in there right now. I took a look this morning.
Active
Yeah,
connections happening.
yeah. Thank you for joining us. Um, all right, Sarah, did you want to take it away?
I'm happy to do so.
All right, perfect. Take it away.
Well, let's go then, y'all. Thank you again for joining us, whether you're here for your first time or you've been to other webinars, including potentially this one earlier this week. Today, we're here to talk about course registration. What we hear from a lot of international students is that they've committed to coming, they're getting everything in order. Wait a second, when am I going to sign up for my classes? And we're here to reassure you that you're going to do that once you arrive on campus, that the Kearney Center has put together an amazing orientation experience that's meant to help you acclimate to the US and to Minnesota and to Mankato specifically, but also meant to take care of some of your university business so that hopefully by the time classes start the week after orientation, you're in a better space. I will be the first to admit that having worked with the students for a long time now, we won't talk about how long, first semester can be rough for a lot of them. I'm not saying that to scare you or make you worried, but just know that if you stumble a little bit along the way, you're not alone. We all stumble. And first semester at a university for some students for the first time is a lot. For you all coming from other countries and adapting to the US can be even more. At the same time, we're confident that you can handle this, and we're going to be here to walk alongside you. So if you have concerns, no worries, just stick with us and we'll do the best we can to support you. So today we're going to talk a little bit about registration, and I want to give you some background information about things you can do ahead of time and things you'll do once you get here to make the registration experience as smooth as possible. So with that, let's talk about what you're going to do before you get here. For those of you on this call who have taken college or university level credits from an institution abroad, I need you to make sure that you get those credits evaluated before you come, whenever possible. We use services like ECE, and they're actually kind of our preferred service to get those credits evaluated before you arrive. ECE does charge a fee, but in the long run, the investment you put into that fee to get your credits evaluated will hopefully save you time and energy down the road because then you won't be repeating courses or taking things you don't otherwise need. So please make sure that if you're bringing in credits from another outside the US institution, that you are getting an evaluation done by ECE before you arrive. If you're taking credits from another institution within the US, you just need to send us your transcripts. We have people who can evaluate those. We just unfortunately do not have an international experts in all the different areas to evaluate credits from non-US institutions. And if you aren't bringing in any college credits at this juncture, that may feel like, hey, wait a second, am I behind? You're not behind. In fact, that might make your first semester a little bit easier to navigate because we won't be trying to make sense of what you've already done. So when you submit documents, those of you who have taken credits outside the US, when you're submitting documents to ECE, they will look for things like official transcripts and other things. It can be helpful to have your course syllabus available as well. Now, if you're like some students, you may not have that readily available. What we have found is oftentimes helpful is students can contact the institution, sometimes as specific as the professor that they worked with, depending on the type of institution, and requesting copies of that. Just to give what the syllabus does is it gives us more specific information about what the course was all about, the course outcomes, and that helps decisions get reached about how your credits will count here. Further, you having that information available to you, even after you have an ECE done, can make things easier down the road when you're getting further along in your major courses. So if you don't have any college credits coming in, no worries, you're just going to keep moving forward. If you have college credits come in, but they're from a US institution, you have the transcripts of those sent here, and our institution will do the best we can to get those evaluated before you arrive. But it doesn't hurt to bring an unofficial copy with you anyway of your transcript when you get here. And finally, if you are coming from an institution outside the US, we want you to get those credits evaluated whenever possible before you come. And now is a really good time to do that if you haven't done it already, as well as having unofficial copies of your transcripts and syllabi with you in case you need to bring those forward later. We also would like you to spend a little bit of time getting to know your major. One of the best ways that students can learn a little bit more about the major that they're planning to pursue is going to the mnsu.edu website. When you get to the mnsu.edu website, you literally will type in academic catalog in the search bar. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring you to the 25-26 catalog. The catalog, the 25-26 catalog, is the catalog you all will be following because this is the term that you've been admitted for. You've been admitted for the 25-26 school year, therefore you will follow the 25-26 catalog. Exceptions can be made, but those would happen at a later time, so don't worry about that right now. What I would encourage you to do is look up, as PJ is showing you right here, search programs, you put in the name of the major that you're pursuing. And then you take a look at what it tells you about that program. It'll list the classes needed. It will list descriptions of those courses. By looking at these ahead of time, you will feel more confident that, yep, that's the program I mean it to be. Because sometimes, even within folks within the US, the way we label programs, the names we use, students are, let's see, what am I trying to say? Sometimes students will call them one name and we will call them a different one, right? And it can be confusing. It doesn't matter if you're international or domestic there. So if you take a look ahead of time at the major that you're interested in, you're going to find out more about it and go, yeah, that was it. Or you're going to go, wait a second, I thought I'd be studying blah, blah, the X, Y, or Z. Well, once you identify that, we can help you find the right major because sometimes it's just a matter of we use a different name for it. So please do go into the catalog, take a look at things. It helps you out, and it also will help you so that when you get here and you're talking with academic advisors, you have some familiarity built up already. So those are the things you have to do before orientation, right? So say get transcripts sent or get an evaluation done if you have college credits, and look at your major in the catalog. During orientation, we'll give you a quick overview of what you can expect from that. First of all, the university has specific math and English requirements for students. And so we have to figure out where you should place, what classes would be most appropriate for you. And we do that by doing math and English placement tests. We do those not long before orientation, but it will be after you come in, check in with the Kearney Center and so forth. We'll be trying to do those pretty quickly. That's not because we want to take advantage of your jet lag. We don't. It's mostly because we don't have much time for you to take those tests and help us understand your results and figure out what classes you need. This is probably, I'll be honest with you all, this is going to probably be the most stressful registration period you have. But on a good note, you'll get through it, and then everyone after this should be simpler. So you'll come, you'll take the math and English placement test. We will not, I would highly recommend that you do not study for those tests. Studying for those tests really stands to change, could potentially change your score. And if it does, it might work against you. It might place you in a course that's actually too advanced for where you're at. So just do the best you can with those tests and know that we'll be using those to determine what English class you need to start with. And we'll be using the test results plus what major you plan to study to determine what math class you need. So that information is really helpful. And we just want you to be aware of it now so that it's not an extra surprise when you get here in the fall. Based on your major, you will be assigned to an academic advisor. And for the most part, as new incoming students, you're going to be assigned to an advising team. You're going to meet with that team during orientation week, and that team is going to be your contact point for everything academic and then some as you progress through the university. That you eventually will get a different advisor assigned, but that team is still a place where you can go for support and when you have questions along the way. So we try to get you to meet them pretty early on. I think it's Wednesday of orientation week, and then you'll meet with them again on Thursday. So you'll get to know them a little bit. They're just really great people who are here to walk alongside you. They know your academic requirements inside out. They know university resources inside out. They've worked with other international students, so we really want you to make the most of that relationship with them. They have your best interest in mind, even when sometimes you might feel like their interests and yours don't always match well. Like they may be insistent that you do the math placement test, and you may be saying, hey, I don't want to take the math placement test because I'm tired and that might affect my score. They have enough experience to know that your tiredness probably isn't going to make a huge difference on your score. And it's better for you to do that, take math right away, than it is for you to delay. So please make sure that you're listening to what they share along the way as well. After orientation, we want you to continue to meet with your academic advisors, to connect with them, to follow up with them. I will tell you, students, that we will be reaching out to you as well as academic advisors to say, hey, wait a second, we want to make sure you're aware of this event going on or this possibility in your major. Hey, we've gotten some feedback from your faculty about how classes are going. We're here to really walk alongside you to help you make the most of this. So please know that when an academic advisor reaches out, they're doing it because they're trying to keep your best interest in mind. I also hope that you really take their expertise seriously. We have a lot of well-intentioned students here. We have a lot of well-intentioned siblings of students here who think they're helping out by saying, hey, nope, that's not what you need to do because that's not what I had to do. Well, odds are that student situation is not the same as yours in every way, shape, and form. Academic advisors are the ones who really understand your situation from that perspective. They may not understand the situation you have coming from abroad. That may be where your siblings and your friends from other countries come in handy. And by all means, lean on them for support as you're navigating this place. But please listen to the academic advisors when it comes to talking about what classes you should take, what things are going to help you with your major, things you might need to be aware of with your academic program so that you're not surprised. We're here to help you, and we're here to, sometimes that means we have to deliver difficult news, but we'll try to do it always with compassion and understanding. And so please make sure that you're staying connected to those folks. PJ, do you want to kick off the orientation conversation? I think it's a good one for the International Center to get to highlight because you guys put together a really amazing program.
Yeah, so I feel like orientation this wow. The coffee's kicking in. Sorry guys, give me a second. It's working. Fall 2025 orientation is going to happen August 18th through August 22nd. Now remember, attendance is mandatory. We do get questions from students like, what if I just skip that week and just come on the first day of classes? Please do not do that. We will not be checking you in or allowing you to check in at that point. So just be very, very mindful that we do need you to be in attendance Monday, August 18th. More details are on the KIC portal for you. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, or if you already got your tickets, just be mindful about the fact that you are not able to enter the US before July 19th, 2025. So if you're looking at your ticket and you're like, you're going to get here on the 18th, it will not let you through the port of entry. So be very mindful as you're getting your tickets. If some of you guys already have your visas, please also let me know because that's always really exciting to hear that you have your visa. And if you're waiting for your appointment still, just let us know as well. But yes, we are very excited to meet you. We have a whole program scheduled around getting to, again, meet your academic advisors, your immigration advisors, people around campus. We host a lot of events, fun events, so that you can also have time to A, have fun, and also B, make friends from different countries around the world. I always encourage students to come with a very open mind. Especially as you're coming to the US, because you're going to meet people from so many different backgrounds, so many different like upbringings, and it's always a really interesting and amazing time just getting to know people. So orientation is that time. I'm still friends with some people that I met during orientation, and this was like years ago. And so orientation is a very important time. You guys are probably going to be jet lagged, like Sarah said earlier, probably going to be tired, but just, I mean, um, just be open that week. But we're very excited to meet you. As you see, those students in the yellow shirts are our peer mentors, and they're going to be here. They are our current international students, and they will be here to support you through this transition of coming into the US, registering for classes. They will be here to take you to where you need to go, because it's going to be pretty confusing that week about where you are. But we have peer mentors in place just to help you with that. And they'll also take you to your advising sessions, everything else that needs to happen. And we do have some upcoming webinars. We had 2 registration webinars this week, which I am very thankful Sarah was able to join us for. Our next session is actually going to be on traveling to Mankato. So if you already got your tickets, but you haven't kind of figured out how to get to Mankato from the Minneapolis airport, that's a good time. So please join us. We'll talk about like shuttles, all the other fun stuff, and we'll have another visa prep session if you're still waiting for your visa appointment. We will also have an Instagram live, as you see on the schedule, and everything is on the fall 2025 pre-arrival calendars that were sent to your emails. So please make sure you're checking your emails. And this is another lesson for you guys as well, is checking your emails. Emails is going to be very, very, very important, because that's where all of your academic advisors, your professors, people at the KIC, your immigration advisors, that's where everyone's going to be sending you communications. And if you're someone that's not used to checking emails, now is a good time to start getting acclimated to it and getting used to looking at your email at least twice a day. But other than that, yes, we are very excited to welcome you. We have a whole programming planned. And like, it's really nice that you guys also join these webinars, because it tells us that you are very interested in learning and getting prepped for orientation and your time here. And it's going to be a great time. It will be. But do we have any?
We have a question that came up, and we will certainly take more questions. So as you want to put them in the chat or the Q&A. And I pushed the wrong button this morning, so coffee is clearly not kicking in. So to the student who asked about your partner institution, I was planning on writing you back in the Q&A, and then I pushed the wrong button. So I will tell you that your university is, yes, absolutely one of our partners and a great institution. What I would recommend is you still go through the process through ECE to have those credits evaluated, just because we want to make sure that we're giving you as much credit as possible. So being a partner institution is still huge, because partnerships mean that we've built some relationships with your school. We're more accustomed to what programs you might be entering, how your credits are going to count. But every time a student will go through the ECE process and we get credits evaluated, we have the faculty look at them, we are more equipped to serve you better. And so you will not only be benefiting yourself, which is hugely important in this case, but you'll be benefiting other students who take advantage of this partnership. So please go through the ECE process with your credits from, am I saying it right, Dunas? And then know that that's only going to help you out. So perfect. And I'm really excited to know that you're coming.
Yes. Okay.
Other questions, thoughts?
Where can we watch the recordings for past webinars? Those are all available on our YouTube. So even right now, we're live on YouTube at the same time. And so once we end this session, it gets kind of put under our live. I will put our YouTube in the chat for you, Anonymous. Do we have another question?
Checking into the dorms before the 18th, where they go for that. PJ, do you have insight into that piece?
Is it about the early check-in?
Mm.
Before the 18th. So again, like I mentioned, Of your, oh yeah, August 18th. Yes. So in order to be able to check in early, there is a early check-in request form that you have to fill out and get approved before you're even able to check in early. So I would go into your residential portal and fill that out. That did open on the 18th and 19th of this month. No. If you're going to be here before July 18th, though, you again remember that the first day that you can get into the US is July 19th. So I just want to clarify with you about what date or what month that is, because if it's the 18th, you might want to change your tickets or do something, unless you're already in the US, then that's a different situation. Um, but if you are looking to move in earlier in August, there is, again, go into your residential portal, look for that early request form and submit that. But again, you have to be approved before you can come in earlier on campus. So.
Good questions, y'all, because those are a lot of things to keep straight as you're figuring out what next steps are coming in line. So thank you for asking.
Yes, and then I am going to put our YouTube link in the chat for you guys so you guys can go subscribe. We do post a lot of other content as well, and it's not just our lives. We post a lot of student testimonials, student interviews, events that we do on campus. You guys can also follow us on social media, which is where we are very active, especially Instagram. So I'll leave that handle in the chat for you. And you're also able to connect with us. You can always DM us on Instagram as well, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. However, if you're asking for a very detailed answer, we always recommend email. And also, we do not check our social media over the weekends. So Saturday and Sunday, that's our off day. So please be patient with us if you're emailing us over the weekend.
Ooh,
Oh, that's a good
hella
question.
good questions. I like them.
So Talha asked, other than meeting our academic advisors and tests, what are some other things that we'll get to experience during orientation? So during orientation, we will be doing a lot of things. So the first day or two is going to be for check-in. So you'll check in, we'll take you to your placement testing centers. So if you need to take placement testing, that's when we take you. After that, we bring you back, and then we will do a lot of general information session. So what do you need to know about keeping your F1 status active and valid? What do you need to do to, and then what are the expectations that the KIC has in terms of immigration and what we need you to do? And then we will also have a lot of social events for you during that week. So you will get to meet with current international students, staff at the KIC. We also do a lunch during orientation at least one day of the week where everyone is there in our ballroom. You guys will know where the ballroom is once you're here, but we do a big lunch where you get to meet the Dean of Global Education, so Dr. Wilcario Barons. You'll get to meet like people from different departments on campus. I know we have someone from security coming, someone from registration. So it's a very jam-packed week, which is why it's also encouraged that you get here a little bit early so that you can like rest up, you're not jet lagged, and you can actually absorb information because like Sarah said earlier at the beginning, it is very overwhelming and it can be a pretty overstimulating experience as well because there's just so much happening. Again, of course, we don't expect you to memorize literally every aspect of orientation, but just understanding that there's going to be a lot of information thrown at you, but also recognizing that we're here to help answer your questions. So after orientation, you're like, I don't know what Sarah was saying, and I don't remember. You email us and we can answer. But Tala, yes, it's going to be fun if you make it fun and if you come here with an open mind. So just be open-minded and just be rested. More importantly, I think rest is important.
It is. And you know, one of the things that I really value in the orientation experiences, and there'll be welcome week activities, there'll be lots of things going on campus at that time, is for students who are exceptionally worried about getting lost, getting turned around, and all of that. You're doing it with other people who are also probably getting lost, getting turned around. We have classroom tours that get you based on your schedule walk you around to the different buildings that you might be in. Though commonly in your first semester, it's pretty typical to be in 2 to 3 buildings for your classes, even though we have multiple buildings across campus. But it is a really good experience to just get to connect and get as ready as you can. And there's some things that you'll have to learn as you go, but I think the Kearney Center does a really nice job trying to be mindful of what's important for you to have and what can wait a little bit, which is tricky because we all want to make sure you have everything, but everything in one week is probably not in your best interest. So we try to do it in multiple ways, which is also why, as PJ mentioned, checking your email, staying on top of that, that just allows us to stay in touch with you more easily so that you're not expected to remember everything you took in that first orientation week.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like, even just because the question also said academic advisors, I really want to reiterate what Sarah said earlier about not listening to your friends when they tell you to register for specific courses, because we do mention it a lot, right? As they're gearing up during pre-arrival, when they're here, when they meet with their academic advisors at orientation week. But I feel like some students still like get swayed by their friends and then they register for classes that they don't need to register for because it's not required in their major. And I just really want to emphasize and reiterate that part of what Sarah was talking about earlier. Everything Sarah said was very important, especially that part is listening to your academic advisors because they have your best interest in mind. They know the curriculum, they know exactly what courses you need to take. Your friends don't know that. And sometimes these friends, like they might have like already graduated like 5 years ago, and things have likely changed, and they don't know that. So the advice that they could be giving, that they're giving you, could be very outdated and irrelevant to your programming, even if you're doing the same program that they did 5 years ago. Things do change, so please just be mindful about that. Another thing that I left in the link for you guys is the International Student Orientation page. So if you scroll on there, it has a day by day. It's not complete yet. We have to update it. So just know that some of it might say like to be announced because we haven't like fully confirmed everything. But if you look at it, you'll see that we're going to be talking about housing. We're talking about like technology sessions, how to get a work permit, getting a job on campus. So it's going to be a lot of things that I've covered. But again, we will talk more about this during our orientation overview webinar and then also Travelton and Cato. So if you guys have any questions about registration, though, now is a good time while we have Sarah here, because Sarah is the expert. And if you guys ask me questions about registration, I usually will refer you to Sarah or someone else in that department. So gotta ask questions while we can.
Yeah, and questions about registration, questions about majors, minors, things of that nature, I'm happy to try and answer as best I can. You will be working with a specific team of individuals who have even more specific information than I do. And so I get to have the big overview and have a lot of general knowledge, but we'll get you to people who have more particulars. Will on-campus housing be available during orientation week?
Yes, so you will be checked in by that point if you're living on campus. So just keep an eye out on your email. Reach out to Res Central Life if you have any further questions. I think we should kind of stick with registration questions right now and not about housing. I again appreciate it, those questions, but this webinar is mostly for registration. So we could focus on that. If you guys have any further questions, feel free to email me and I'll redirect you to the right person. But if you guys don't have any other questions, we're happy to end the live a little bit early. So it gives Sarah a little bit of room before I'm sure they have other meetings. So it'd be nice to also take a breather. How does the entire registration process go? Do we register after orientation?
That's a great question, Morris. So what's going to happen is on Wednesday of orientation week, you're going to get connected to academic advisors and they're going to talk you through some basic information about your program specifically, right? So they're going to go through more in-depth things. And then on Thursday, there are two different registration periods. There's a registration period in the morning for those students who are transfer students, and in the afternoon for those who are new students, no transfer work. And you will come in a small group setting where you will meet again with the advising team, and they'll be providing you with information about what classes to take. We have been able to pre-register students for some credits, and the reason we do that is honestly just to make your time here simpler. So we'll pre-register you for a class about education and culture in the US that all international students take. We will pre-register you oftentimes for English and math if that's relevant to your situation. And then beyond that, you'll be working with the academic advisor to find classes that are relevant to your situation. They'll be providing you with a short list of things. We try to take some of the pressure off to pre-register some of them just so that you get the hang of it and you know how to do it, but you're not trying to do the whole schedule your first semester if we can help you with that because it is a lot to go through. Great question about minors. You have the option to choose a minor right when you get here, but I would encourage you to just pause for a minute if you can, particularly if you're a new student. If you're a transfer student bringing in credits, you may have a little bit more pressure to have that minor figured out, but if not, you can take a little time. I will be honest with you all and tell you that some of our majors absolutely require minors and others of our majors absolutely do not. And so depending on what you're doing is going to help dictate whether or not you have to do a minor. And so that's where if you're a new student, we'll give you that information when you get here and when we're talking through things, but you will not have to have that decided right away. If you are a student with transfer credits, you may have to decide sooner, but you'll really work with that academic advising team to look at your specific situation. So great question.
We have another question that says, do we register for classes in our major in that first semester or just the basic mandatory classes?
Excellent question. Again, that's going to vary depending on two things. First of all, are you bringing in credits with you? Because if you're bringing in credits with you, you're further along and you're going to need to start taking some classes in your major sooner. Secondly, it's going to depend on what your program is. Some of our majors really work well when you take the general mandatory classes, the general education courses early on, and then you switch into your major. Other programs, you really have to do it all along the way. This is, again, goes back to why we lean heavily on academic advisors because the situations are dependent on your academic program, but are also dependent on you as an individual and what credits you're bringing in. So that's why we have to look at your individual situations to give you the best possible information, which is also why it's hard when you listen to friends because friends probably don't have the exact situation. They may have a lot in common with your situation, but it may not be yours. So if you ever get information from somebody and you're curious about that, I encourage you to ask the academic advisors. I'm surprised to hear this or my friend had a different experience. They may be able to point out why or just lean in and trust. We do the best we can to really take into account your situation. Your major, there are courses you have to pass to get a minor, but to get the minor, let me reread this. Um, I'm curious what major you're pursuing. We do have a few majors that have a minor built into them. But we also, for the most part, usually students have to take at least one or two classes to get both. Oh, biotechnology. Okay. The biotechnology major actually is one of the majors that is currently under revision at our institution. And so we probably would be encouraging you to look specifically straight at biology. And then if you want to enhance that, to do that with a major that or a minor that complements it. The biotech major was one of the programs identified by our institution this last May to go on pause. So that major will not be available when you arrive in the fall, but biology will. And we can complement that bio major with a related minor to hopefully get you to the degree outcome you want.
Another question is, do our minors need to link with our majors or just random courses?
That's an excellent question. Um, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you again, this varies, right? So there are times that the majors will say basically, hey, if you're going to do this major, you should pick from these minors, and that's what we expect you to do, period. There are other times that the majors say, hey, you have to do a minor, take what you want. Um, so for some students, they take a very complementary program, something that kind of reinforces some of what they're already learning. For other students, they opt to do something way different, just to kind of to provide a different lens on how their schoolwork looks. So it really is highly individual, but great questions. And when you get here and you're talking to an academic advisor, that's going to help you figure out what's best in your situation. Ultimately, you will have some decisions to make, but our job is to give you the information so you can make decisions and feel comfortable with them and know that what decision you made is going to help you in the long run. And Tala, I see that you put in there, will the academic advisor help select courses? Absolutely. What we try to do, particularly in your first semester, is give you some classes that are, yep, you really need to take these, but then give you some options for others whenever possible, but not give you every option because sometimes we've had students who get this long list of options and that you can imagine that's overwhelming. And we know that's why students sometimes turn to their friends because it's like, wait a second. So what you should expect is to get some options, but we try to keep those within a reasonable number of things to pick from because it can be a lot otherwise, right? And we know that you're going through the transition of coming to the US. We know that you might be jet lagged and as PJ was mentioning earlier, stimulated by a lot of stuff going on. So we want to try to help you out the best way we can. And so that's kind of what we've seen is best information across the board. Golly, you guys, these are great questions. So thank you for digging in. Sorry, my answers are like, if this or if this, but that's just part of the process. And that's what we're here to help you with. Help you select courses, help you select minors, help you look about university resources that might help you out given your situation. And that's where I really will tell you and tell you again, the team I get to supervise are remarkable humans. They really care about how you're doing in your classes, and they really care that you find a good place for you here. And so that's why we partner so well with the Kearney Center, because they believe in that mission too, that we're here to help you out so that you can make the best decisions for your journey.
Really great questions, guys. No other questions? I am going to assume you guys don't have any other questions. Maybe. Um, oh, why is the biotech major on pause? Because I saw it on the academic catalog that they have for 25-26.
Yeah, good question. Over the last academic year, our Academic Affairs Division, which is the division that oversees all the majors and all the faculty members, had to take a look at our portfolio of programs, basically all the majors across the university. And what they found is that for a university of our size and scope, we have a lot of programs. And while having a variety of programs can be beneficial, it can also prevent your university from making as much progress as you need to. And so they made us some really hard decisions about what programs needed to kind of be suspended and wait for a while, determined if they'll continue. I think, and I'm double checking right now, if you were going into the catalog and look at biotechnology, you know what? This one doesn't say it. I thought that this one would have the language on it that says that the program's on pause. So let me take a look at a different program just to see what that language is, because I know that, yeah, it says effective fall 2025 and for a different program. So what I need to do is touch base with our academic affairs office. So my apologies. That is one of the programs that has been identified, but somehow our catalog is not reflecting that accurately. And so I'm sorry to have delivered that bad news, but I think that if at all possible, and if you want to, I'm going to actually put my email in the chat. I'm going to put the advising email in the chat. Send a message to this email asking more questions about that. Tell me what you want to do with that program and what's motivated you to pursue it. And let me get that in front of the academic advising team to tell me what might be a good option for you. I think biology, but paired with what minor? That's what I want to do a little bit more digging into. So again, sorry, this is not obviously the best place to share that news, but I also don't want to hold that back from you because I didn't want you to get here and be surprised by that. And I will be following up with our academic affairs office to say our catalog is not accurately reflecting the fact that this program is on pause right now. Thank you for asking that question. Hopefully, if you get an email off to that advising at mnsu.edu website and you include in there that you were part of this, I'm confident that that'll get routed to me and then I can get it. My email address is really long. That's probably the reason I don't share it. But if you send it to this one, I will ensure that we get it to the right people. In fact, I'm going to go right out after this outside my office and remind our office our coordinator that if she sees a message come through about this topic, that one's for me. So she'll usually get stuff right away to the right spot, but I want to do some follow up on this one in particular. So, and I'm sorry, without when it shows up as anonymous, I can't respond to you specifically. So hopefully we'll be able to figure that out along the way.
I was just checking YouTube. We don't have any questions on there. Um, okay, Dora, Morris. Okay, that question is for me. You've been awarded the International and Global Maverick Scholarship and your tuition. So, when you're here for orientation and after you pay your health insurance, because that's the payment that you have to make during orientation week. So everyone watching, if you've attended any of our previous webinars, I've kind of mentioned this to you guys quite often actually, that during orientation week, you have to pay your student health insurance. After you pay your student health insurance is when you're able to register for classes, and that's when you meet with the academic advising team and you register for your classes. The week after you register is when the tuition will pop up on your e-services about your semester. So you pay semester by semester. It's not the whole year. During orientation. So during orientation week, you pay for the student health insurance, which is a mandatory payment that you have to make. So during orientation, we tell you guys, and you've received email communication as well, to come with the amount for student health insurance in order to remove the hold from your account in order to be able to register for your classes. And then once you register for your classes the following week, you will see that amount of your tuition reflected on e-services, and that usually also includes scholarships. Sometimes the scholarships can take a little bit longer to reflect on e-services, but we generally try to have that all set up on e-services right away. Talha, yes, you can also pay on e-services before coming to the US. So if you go onto e-services right now, it will give you an option to pay for your insurance. If for some reason you have issues, just feel free to email international@mnsu.edu. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Lots of emails for you guys today, email addresses, international@mnsu.edu. But yes, if you log into e-services, it'll just on the left-hand side, it'll say bills and payment, and then you can pay towards the amount. All right. Hopefully that answers your question. Morris and Talha. Okay. I think we don't have any more questions. Maybe. Okay. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, we can end it slightly early today. CIT, Computer Information Technology.
That is a very popular major among international students. And
Yeah,
so that is a program that we hear a lot. That is what we consider a broad major, which means it doesn't require a minor. It does require some math background and it does require some programming background. And so depending on what students are bringing in with them will help determine what classes they're starting with their first semester with us. Not sure the extent of your questions beyond that, but I'm happy to entertain any if there's something that you have around that.
I would also encourage looking at that catalog that Sarah talked about earlier, just to kind of get a feel of the courses you're taking, like the required courses and all of that. But of course, you'll have more information during orientation.
If you don't have any programming background, they're going to have you start with a more general course to kind of get you assess your readiness and to help you determine if this is the best program for you. So you should expect I forget what the class is. I think it's CIS 115 instead of 121. And it's a course that gives you kind of a broader sense of things to really ensure that this is what you want. We do also, it's very common in some of our majors that students think that's the right program for them. And as they're learning more, they're like, that's not quite it. We try to make it so that you can dovetail off pretty easily if needed. Obviously, you all have SEVIS records and other things that have to be impacted, but we'll do the best we can to walk you through that. So good question, Tala.
Another question from an anonymous attendee is, for the placement tests, if we are transferring to year 3 of our bachelor's, do we still have to do it?
Then it depends on what other information we have from you. If we have any sort of golly, the word is standardized, standardized test scores like SAT scores, if we have your IELTS score, if we have Duolingo scores, we can also use that to determine placement. Oftentimes, if you're bringing in credits because you're further along in your program, that's why getting those credits evaluated early is helpful, because if you've already taken it, we don't want you to take it again if we can help it. But we need to know that and we need to see that on that evaluation because it helps us feel more confident. You can tell us those things and tell us we're going to get those credits to come across. But what I have found is that if students don't do it at the onset, it's really hard for them to remember to do it later. And then we end up kind of backing up and have you retake classes at a later time, which is also not ideal. So whenever possible, if you're bringing in credits, particularly from a non-US institution, start that ECE process because that will help a great deal. And that may determine that you don't have to do the placement test or additional courses. Great questions. You all are fantastic at this. Really making the most of our time together. So I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Lots of good questions for sure. I just realized today's Thursday, that means tomorrow's Friday. Ooh. Very exciting. How's the weather like for you guys here? If you guys don't have any registration questions as we wind down for the morning, are you guys excited to see snow? Have you guys seen snow before? It won't be snowing when you guys get here in August, but it will eventually. Oh, we have a question. Oh, Maury says, not a question, just a compliment. Love your necklace, PJ, and love the hairdo, Sarah.
Well, thank you. That's a nice way to start the day too.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's very sweet. Yeah, we're excited to see you during orientation. And if you see Sarah, go say hi and let her know
Please.
that you were at the webinar. It also helps us kind of understand the impact that we're making with these pre-arrival sessions when students come up and say, oh my gosh, I was in your webinar. When they check in, if they let me know, I feel like I'm actually making an impact. Because a lot of times with pre-arrival webinars, it's just talking to the screen and can't really tell who's actually like there or not. And sometimes when you guys don't have your names on here, it's hard. So
No, and it's really that's why that's probably part of the reason that PJ and I get really excited about questions, right? Is that you just feel like, oh, good. I'm not just telling myself things.
exactly.
No, and she's absolutely right. If you think of it, do stop and say hi. I'll be confused for a second, but I always look confused, so that's fine. But then when you say that's the webinar in particular, because I'm always like, well, how come I don't recognize your face? But then it's like, oh yeah, and it just takes a minute, and I'm just really excited. And I also would just say, I'm happy for you all that you all are on deck to start in the fall. Um, the January is a rough time to come to Minnesota, and I always feel bad for our new international students, regardless of where they come from, when they come in January. That's tough. So,
Yeah, it's a rough time to be here, especially if you're someone that lives in a tropical climate or somewhere where it doesn't snow. Coming in the spring can be a little jarring because it's cold. You probably don't have enough like clothing. So when you're here during orientation, we will be talking about winter quite a lot, and that is to prepare you for how cold it can get. Especially if you're from someone that's like not used to like dressing really warm, we don't want you to get frostbite. So we don't talk about that during orientation as well. So were you like, have you lived in Mankato, like Minnesota, or did you move to Minnesota?
we moved to Minnesota about 20 years ago, so we've been here a long time now, but we were not completely accustomed to it. And so it took a minute, and I think now I have all the supplies. But when our Thai exchange daughter came here, she had never seen snow. And she got super excited the first time it snowed, and it was little tiny, tiny flakes. And by the end of the winter, when you see the big flakes that are like multiple flakes all together, um, I think she was ready for it to be over. So, fortunately, so are those of us who are from Minnesota, or not even from, been here a long time. I'm like, I'm ready for winter to be over by the time it is. So,
Yeah,
but it is a cool time, and if you haven't experienced snow, it's really magical for a while, and then you're sick of it. But
yeah. But you also get to do a lot of outdoor stuff, like you
yeah.
go skiing, snowboarding, snow tubing is really big in Mankato. They do a free event in the winter where they have a bus that takes you to the Mount Cato. Yes, it's Mount Cato. You can do free tubing. We do a lot of outdoor like events as well, where we'll do hot chocolate and s'mores night. We'll do a bonfire. So there's a lot of outdoor stuff you can do, but again, eh, I'm also that I've like still haven't gotten used to the winter every year. Like summer hits and I'm like, oh, it's actually really nice. And then winter starts over and I'm like, I forgot how bad it gets. 'Cause we get all four seasons in Minnesota, which is I think lovely though, because most places don't get that. I think I really enjoy that we get all four seasons.
Well, and one piece of advice during the fall, take advantage of all the outside stuff you can get, and then save all those movies and things you want to binge watch until winter, because winter, that's a good time. That's what I've started doing. I'm like, I'm going to wait with all these books and TV shows and movies I want to catch up on until winter time, because then I have something to look forward to.
That
So,
is such a good point. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Strategize. But okay, guys, it's past our time, so we will end our webinar now. But again, you'll have the emails necessary. If you have questions about I-20, stuff like that, email the KIC. Registration questions can go to advising, but also orientation is when you'll learn a lot. So we really appreciate you joining us today. And Sarah, I really appreciate you joining us twice this week and just helping our students as they prep to coming in the US. Um, and yeah, I think we're gonna end the session. So have a good one, guys.